Alright, so 1 minute wisdom from the Rebbe for today. In response to a terrible tragedy which took place in 1974, where there was a huge car accident that 6 people were going back from a wedding, and there was a huge car accident where all 6 of them died, one of them the head rabbi of Kfar Chabad. And the Rebbe spoke the following Shabbos and explained that this was a crazy incident which happened. When something bad happens to the Jewish people, a person is supposed to look into himself, do some introspection, and see what could have caused this terrible tragedy. But sometimes there's no response. Sometimes you have nothing to come up which can answer how such a terrible thing can happen, as God acted in a way of a hifla, something which is above what was called for, and did a crazy thing which we cannot understand. And this has to be a response of a Jewish person. We don't have to answer for God. We have questions to God, and it's okay to have questions for God. If anything, it doesn't show us not believing in God, but on the contrary, we know that we believe in God because we have who to turn to. We ask God, how could it be that you did such a terrible thing? And this is the response that we need to have. God, how can you do this terrible thing? As a previous Rebbe one time told someone who tried to answer why God caused the Holocaust, that we don't have to answer for God. We have questions on Him, and we don't have to respond to everything that He does. And this is also the idea of what it says in the Gemara, that Rabba Bar Chana came into the base Medrash and said that I heard a voice from heaven, which came out and said, woe to me that I sent my children to exile, but now that I swore to do it, who will annul my vow? And the Chachamim told him that you should have said your vow is nullified. This shows us that the Jewish people can nullify God's vow, but we have to demand to God and show Him that we're acting in an unradical way, a way which does not make sense at all. And that's the way we can nullify God's vow. And so too now, in response to this terrible tragedy, we have to add in our Torah mitzvahs, add in the things that we do, and totally nullify God's vow of sending us to exile. And hopefully very soon we'll be able to be reunited with those who were struck in this terrible tragedy. Chaim l'chaim.